Today we are looking at a story that deals with some pretty heavy, uncomfortable truths.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about human nature and the structures we build to just protect our own comfort.
Right, and because this is such a powerful narrative, we want to make sure as many people hear it as possible.
Exactly. So if you are joining us right now on the Simplified Summary YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and you appreciate us taking on these tougher, more meaningful deep dives, please take a second to humbly subscribe.
Yeah, hitting that like button and sharing your valuable comments down below is exactly what helps the channel grow.
It really is. It allows us to keep exploring these incredible masterpieces with you, so thank you for being part of this community.
Thank you.
Now let's get into the mission for today.
It is a really profound mission today. We are immersing ourselves in the classic short story, Doodh Ka Daam.
Which translates to The Price of Milk, right?
Right. It's a defining work by the legendary author Munshi Premchand. And we're drawing this directly from his celebrated Mansarovar Part 2 collection.
I mean, Premchand is often called the Upanyas Samrat.
Yes, the emperor among novelists.
And it's specifically because he had this unflinching ability to hold a mirror up to society.
He really didn't sugarcoat anything. Not the glaring hypocrisy of the elite or the stark social realities of early 20th century India.
Or the heartbreaking price paid by the marginalized.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because Premchand usually builds his worlds on massive, undeniable contrasts.
He does.
So how does he set the stage for us in this particular narrative?
Well, he opens by drawing a really sharp dividing line between urban and rural life.
Right.
He presents this landscape where the big cities are slowly marching toward modernity. You know, they have modern medical facilities, trained nurses, lady doctors.
But the village setting of our story is entirely different.
Entirely different. It remains deeply entrenched in a rigid, traditional caste system.
So when it comes to childbirth in these rural areas, the wealthy upper castes have to rely completely on women from the marginalized sweeper caste.
Right, the bangins.
That immediately creates a paradox, doesn't it?
That was the ultimate paradox.
I mean, the village elite consider themselves superior in literally every way. Yet for the most intimate, dangerous, and vital act of bringing a child into the world,
They have to rely on the very people they deem the lowest in society.
it's just wild.
And to explore that, Premchand introduces us to Babu Maheshnath.
Right. Our wealthy landlord.
Yeah, he's an educated village zamindar. And because he has some education, he publicly claims to be a progressive thinker.
He talks a big game.
He really does. He champions the idea of medical reform and modernization, especially when it comes to safe childbirth.
But when it actually comes time to put his money where his mouth is, all those progressive values just vanish.
Instantly.
So his wife is expecting their fourth child. And this is a massive event for the household because her first 3 children were girls.
Right. So the pressure to produce a male heir is just immense.
Yet despite his wealth, Maheshnath flat out refuses to hire a trained city nurse or a lady doctor.
Yep.
Why does he backpedal so hard on his own beliefs?
Because of the economics of his own hypocrisy. Yeah, he rationalizes that city doctors demand exorbitant fees. He literally feels that paying a modern medical professional would cost him half his property.
So instead of financing the medical reform he loudly supports, he defaults to the traditional inexpensive route.
Exactly. He relies on the local sweeper, a man named Gudad, and his wife, Bhungi.
He wants the absolute safety and guarantee of a successful birth for his highly anticipated heir, but he refuses to pay the actual market price for it.
He wants the premium service on a discount budget.
That is exactly it. And meanwhile, down in the sweeper's quarters, the mood is completely different.
Yeah, it's a totally different vibe down there.
Gudad and Bhungi are actually finding a bit of entertainment in the suspense of this pregnancy.
They have a wager going.
Right. Bhungi is absolutely insisting that the baby is going to be a boy.
She knows the stakes.
She does. She knows that if she successfully delivers a male heir for the zamindar, she's going to receive a massive reward, a rupee and a brand new sari.
And Gudad is playfully teasing her.
Yeah, he's joking that if it actually turns out to be a boy, he will completely shave off his mustache.
That dynamic is crucial because it highlights how inextricably linked their survival is to the fortunes of the wealthy landlord.
Right.
A boy being born to Maheshnath isn't just a matter of family legacy. For Gudad and Bhungi, it represents a rare, life-altering economic windfall.
They're the ones doing the grueling hands-on work of delivering and caring for the child, yet they're surviving on the scraps of the landlord's good fortune.
And that windfall actually does arrive.
It does. A boy is born, And the family names him Suresh.
And because this highly anticipated male heir has finally arrived, Bhungi is elevated to a completely new status in the household.
It's like overnight.
Literally, she is showered with dandakshina.
Which is essentially a massive haul of charitable gifts and offerings.
It's so much that she literally cannot carry it all alone. She receives gold bangles, beautiful, expensive saris, and she's treated with a level of reverence that completely defies her social standing.
What's fascinating here is how Premchand uses this temporary elevation of Bhungi to dissect the sociology of convenience.
Oh, absolutely. What's fascinating here is he introduces a profound observation about Dharma.
The concept encompassing duty, religious law, and moral order.
Right. The narrative explicitly observes that Dharma is not a fixed universal truth. It constantly shifts.
Depending on who you are.
Exactly. There are rules for kings, different rules for subjects, rules for the rich, and rules for the poor.
It's a sliding scale based entirely on who holds the power.
Precisely. The wealthy and powerful have no real restrictions on what they eat, who they associate with, or whose services they utilize.
Because they make the rules.
Right. Strict social boundaries and moral policing are largely enforced to keep the lower and middle classes in check. The elite can bend or break the rules of Dharma whenever it suits their immediate needs without facing any societal repercussions.
So if you look at Maheshnath's family through that lens, the hypocrisy becomes staggering.
It really does.
In their day-to-day lives, they strictly observe traditional caste boundaries. They won't even touch people from the sweeper caste.
Never.
But the moment the survival of baby Suresh is on the line, those ancient rigid rules just evaporate.
They eagerly accept Bhungi's life-saving services.
And it goes even deeper than just delivering the baby.
Oh, yeah.
They rely on Bhungi's literal breast milk to nourish Suresh.
That is the crux of the story. You have an upper caste family taking bodily sustenance from a woman they actively categorize as an untouchable.
Right.
The transfer of breast milk is an incredibly intimate, visceral act. Yet Maheshnath's family completely suspends their deep-seated prejudices because they need her to keep their legacy alive.
They weaponize their power to create a loophole in their own religious laws.
Exactly. But that loophole closes the second they don't need her anymore.
The illusion of her being valued shatters.
It's completely temporary.
Yeah, eventually Bhungi has to step down from the throne.
The source material is very blunt about that.
Once baby Suresh is weaned and her utility has run its course, she is thrust right back down to the bottom of the social hierarchy.
She goes from being the indispensable savior of the family to just another marginalized laborer.
Her value to the Zamandar's family was purely functional, never intrinsic.
She was a piece of biological machinery to them and nothing more.
Here's where it gets really interesting and honestly devastating.
Yeah, the tone shifts heavily here.
The narrative jumps forward in time, and we see the long-term aftermath of this dynamic through the character of Mangal.
Mangal is the sweeper boy, the biological son of Bhungi.
But when we meet him in this later timeline, he is completely alone.
He is.
To truly understand Mangal's current situation, we have to look at the tragic gap between Suresh's birth and this moment.
Oh.
How does Mangal end up an orphan, totally reliant on a household that frankly despises him?
It speaks to the brutal reality of their existence. Despite giving their literal life, health, and labor to ensure the survival of the village elite, Gudad and Bhungi possess absolutely no safety net. They succumb to the occupational hazards and systemic neglect inherent to their caste. When tragedy strikes them, whether through disease or just the grueling conditions of their daily labor, the wealth and power of Maheshnath's household offers them zero protection.
So they pass away.
Yes, leaving young Mangal completely destitute. He is an orphan, forced to seek survival at the edges of the very estate his mother's milk helped secure.
Which brings us to a terrifying confrontation with Deviji.
Maheshnath's wife.
Right, the mother of Suresh. Premchand paints this incredibly vivid, terrifying picture of Deviji interacting with little Mangal.
She is literally grinding her teeth in anger at him.
It's a hard scene to read. She accuses this orphan child of Troy or Sinazori.
Which essentially means calling him a thief who is brazenly defiant about his stealing.
She just unleashes a torrent of wrath on him.
And the most chilling part of that scene isn't just her anger, it's the specific psychology behind her restraint.
Explain that.
Well, Deviji is exploding with rage, but she does not physically hit Mangal. She stops herself from striking the boy not out of any sudden surge of maternal compassion or mercy for a starving orphan. She stops because of the rules of untouchability.
Right.
If she were to physically lay a hand on him in anger, she would be required to undergo a purifying bath to cleanse herself of his caste pollution.
Her prejudice is so ingrained that it actually overrides her violent impulses.
She finds him too disgusting to even beat.
Wow. So denied the release of physical violence, she resorts to severe psychological assault.
She screams at him, ordering him away from her door permanently.
And she delivers a truly horrifying threat to this child.
Yeah.
She tells him that if she ever sees his face around her home again, she will drink his blood.
To say that to a marginalized, impoverished child whose mother literally gave her blood and milk to save your own son, it is just visceral cruelty.
And Mangal doesn't fight back.
He can't.
He is terrified, deeply humiliated, and simply accepts his exile. He silently gathers up his meager belongings.
It's such a sad image.
He collects his sakor, which are just a few cheap clay bowls, a rough piece of sackcloth, and a dhoti. That represents his entire worldly wealth.
Think about that visual contrast for a moment. Mangal gathering his cheap clay bowls and a piece of sackcloth is the direct opposite of the gold bangles and beautiful saris his mother was once showered with by this exact same household.
It's a total reversal.
It demonstrates how ruthlessly a society can extract value from a marginalized group when it's convenient and then discard their children without a second thought.
So he takes these few items and he leaves crying. And as he walks away, he asks himself this profound, devastating question. What is the point of his existence?
He realizes that there's nowhere else for him to go.
He has been exiled from the only environment he knows, cast out by the family his own mother kept alive.
It is a moment of pure existential despair. At a very young age, Mangal is realizing that society has deemed him completely disposable.
Because he offers no immediate utility to the powerful over, he has no right to occupy their space. And that drops Mangal into a state of survival that can only be described as the ultimate degradation. He is reduced to an animal's existence.
He is living out in the elements. He is perpetually starving, and his only companion in the entire world is a stray dog named Tommy.
The relationship between Mangal and Tommy is arguably one of the most brilliant and heartbreaking aspects of the narrative.
Premchand isn't just giving the boy a pet here.
No, not at all.
In the eyes of the village, Tommy and Mangal share the exact same social standing. They are both scavengers.
They are completely invisible to the powerful elite until they accidentally cross a boundary, at which point they are treated as a nuisance to be chased away.
The details of their interaction are incredibly moving. Mangal actually holds full conversations with Tommy, talking to the dog as if Tommy understands the complexities of their shared misery.
Mangal commiserates with the dog about the nature of loyalty and betrayal.
He specifically mentions another street dog named Kelu, analyzing how Kalu betrayed them.
It really shows you the profound isolation of this child. The complex social dynamics of stray dogs are the only community, the only family he has left to analyze.
But eventually, driven by severe gnawing hunger, their conversation shifts.
Yeah, Mangal starts speculating about food.
Hunger is the relentless driving force of this final act. And it is here that Premchand delivers the thematic climax of the entire story.
Mangal is talking to Tommy, calculating the timeline of the wealthy household's meals.
He tells the dog that their mistress, referring to the women inside Maheshnath's mansion, must be looking for them soon.
He reasons that Babuji, the master of the house, and Suresh, the young heir, must have finished eating their grand meals by now.
He knows the intimate daily schedule of the house perfectly because his survival depends on tracking their excess.
Mangal explains to Tommy that the servant of the house will soon emerge carrying the family's leftovers.
And Premchand describes these leftovers with painful specificity. It is rich, decadent food, heavy with expensive ghee and sweet malai.
That thick, clotted cream.
Yeah, and Mangal knows exactly where that rich food is going.
The servant isn't going to hand it to Mangal on a plate.
No. The servant is going to walk outside and throw that expensive food directly onto the Gurpar.
The village garbage dump.
Exactly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the horrifying contrast that Premchand has been building towards just hits you like a physical blow.
It's staggering.
You have Suresh, the wealthy boy, who only survived infancy because he was nourished on the breast milk of Mangal's mother. Suresh is sitting safely inside a sprawling mansion, eating fresh sweet cream and rich ghee.
Meanwhile, Mangal, whose mother sacrificed her own bodily resources to save Suresh, is forced to wait outside in the dirt alongside a stray dog.
Mangal is waiting to scavenge Suresh's discarded leftovers mixed with filth from a literal trash pile.
This is the true devastating price of milk.
Wow.
It is a masterful, sickening irony. Premchand forces you to confront the architecture of exploitation.
The suspension of Dharma, the blatant hypocrisy of Maheshnath's supposed progressive ideals, the temporary elevation of Bhungi.
All of it culminates on that garbage dump.
The elite extract the life essence from the marginalized, build their dynasties on that stolen foundation, and then abandon the descendants of their saviors to fight dogs for scraps. So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
That's the big question.
This deep dive into Doodh Ka Daam reveals that Premchand's story is far more than a historical critique of a specific village. It operates as a timeless mirror.
It reflects a very dark human tendency to value human utility over inherent human dignity.
In these systems, a person is only deemed valuable as long as they provide a service, as long as they produce milk or labor or wealth.
But the very second they stop producing their humanity is revoked.
It urges you to look at the structures around us today and reflect on the modern parallels. Who are the people in our current world whose labor is deemed essential, but whose basic humanity and security are entirely ignored?
That is the enduring power of Premchand's writing. The caste dynamics may evolve, but the sociology of convenience remains highly relevant.
It absolutely does, and it leaves a heavy impact. We hope this exploration has given you a lot to think about and discuss.
It's definitely a lot to process.
Before we go, I want to warmly remind you one more time, if you value these kinds of deep, unflinching literary analyses, please subscribe to the Simplified Summary YouTube channel. Hit that like button on the video and drop a comment down below with your thoughts on Premchand's narrative.
We would love to read your perspective on how this story resonates today.
We really would.
It is certainly a narrative that demands reflection. And to that end, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over on your own.
Please do.
We spent a lot of time discussing the transactional nature of Maheshnath's society. But consider this. If the price of milk is a lifetime of degradation for the one who provides it, who is truly indebted to whom? And as you look at the conveniences, the services, and the comforts of your own life, ask yourself how many invisible Bhungis and Mongals are currently propping up our modern systems, waiting at the margins for leftovers.